Okay, let's just do this. I give up. I give up. Okay, so basically, unlike normal, where I try and review things based off of starting off with the stuff that doesn't have too much of a huge impact and then going into the stuff that had a huge impact, this is one of those games where I can't do that option because both had equal effect and equal intensity. Yeah. Here's the thing. Deamon Machina, I'm just going to tell you right now, okay, in all honesty, is a game of inconsistency. Here's the thing. I'm going to tell you right now, the gameplay is probably your only real reason to finish it. If not to even play it at all. Because honestly, that's the part that honestly is fun, enjoyable. It has some similarities with that of Armored Core, but is a lot more easy to get engrossed in and get lost in. A lot easier. Now, granted, I'm going to tell you right now, that's the end of the similarities, but it's also the start of a problem. Honestly, it's a huge problem that was equal in size to the gameplay's benefits. No, no, really. Here's the thing: is ultimately the story and even kind of the lore feels like a checkbox to end all boring ass checkboxes. If you're someone who watches stuff like Apocalypse, if you're someone who watches this, you're trying to protect this one person who's technically the one hope for humanity. And of course, she doesn't exactly want to be used as a breeding factory because how else are we supposed to go about this, apparently? Besides hitting yet another checkbox. Who? Hey, I. You made this checkbox? Why you made this a checkbox, motherfucker? He running. Let me just make something clear here, okay? Pretty much any game and any story ever, if you treat it like a checkbox, it will feel like a checkbox. When it feels like a checkbox, no one cares about your story then. Your story becomes boring. Follow? Yeah, I know this is rocket science, apparently. Apparently this is a huge thing, complicated thing. Um, but people notice and pick up when you don't give a shit about your own story. It's clear when you could not care less and want nothing to do with your own story, it's very obvious to everyone who experiences your story. Do you think I got the point across to him? Do you think I need that? What? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay. The other me's seem to think that should be good enough to get the point across. I am unsure, but fuck it. Let me just tell you right now, if it wasn't for the gameplay, I would be giving this game a lot harsher of a score than I'm going to in the end. I'm going to be a little kinder to it, and I'm also going to be a little generous because at least I was enjoying the gameplay. And technically speaking, that's where most of my playtime was. But I do feel like it's important to bring it up, though. This game would actually be far better off and far stronger if it had taken some notes on how to give a shit about its story from any other game where they actually give a shit about their story. The gameplay was fine and it was fun and it was approachable. I got to play the way I wanted to play Armored Core, but I got to do it here instead. And I got to have fun doing it and I didn't feel punished until the story would start up. I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't help that, honestly, when it comes down to it, this game's dialogue options are ass. No, really, they're pretty much Pointless. Look, when I say you should, if you're not going to give good dialogue options, do voice acting, that doesn't mean this. This is not what I mean. Because yes, it is voice acted. Yay! Problem is, though, is that it still relies on this dialogue that is god awful. So why bother? Once again, time wasted you could have put in other places. Fixing your story, fixing your lore, trying to give a shit about the whole thing. Something. You could have done something with that time. So instead, you just added these dialogue options for nothing. And it's not even like it's just bad. It is, why are you wasting my time level shit? Hell, the only game so far I've played that has dialogue options more pointless than this is Digimon Time Stranger. But we'll get into that next week. Honestly, when it comes down to it, the dialogue options here, they're pointless. There's no reason for them to be here. You literally would have been far better off just having the character say the line with no dialogue options smoothly and consistently, and then using that extra time to beef up other places. And yet, that's not what happened. Quite genuinely, at the start of the game, the first sign of a downwards fall when it comes to dialogue options is your first three options. ... My body won't listen to me. I'm fine. There's another one, but it's literally just the same shit. They all lead the same direction. They all have the same outcome. They don't even really change the response said to you by jack shit. So why bother? Yeah, they're voice acted, but you could have instead of wasting our time with probably some of up there for worse dialogue, you could have just had him say what he was going to say, and we can move the F on. In fact, honestly, I think that's probably one of the things that chewed up the most time in this game, is having my time wasted by some of the dumbest, most pointless, most empty and meaningless dialogue options there is, especially in a game that does do voice acting, but yet has no idea how to implement it worth a damn. Honestly, I'm not sure how I was supposed to review this without losing it a little bit, without going mentally insane for a while. How? How do I do? Especially since, honestly, it's co-op. It's not something I can talk about. Why? Because one, I played this on PS. Yes, on PlayStation. Which, if I had known it was going to be a co-op, if it had online, multiplayer aspects, I probably wouldn't have gotten it there. Probably would have gotten it on PC then. But I'm also kind of glad I didn't do that, because it would have been a robbery. Yeah, this game's $6.99. Sorry, $69.99. Oh, my bad. I forgot the decimal. I forgot that decimal. Well, fuck your decimal, bitch. Fuck your decimal. This is bullshit. This thing does not look good enough to justify that kind of price. It's definitely not smooth enough of an experience to justify that kind of price. And on top of that, it has a load of game designs that are honestly more than a decade old. So if AAA is getting tons of shit and in trouble for that, what makes you think you can do that and get away with it? Anyone? I'd love to hear your bullshit theories. My only bullshit theory is I blackmail. I don't know. What? You got something better? He just think ignorance. Honestly, maybe. But honestly, tell me genuinely. Why should I pay $69.99 for a game that's clearly made with all the limitations of the early 2000s? Invisible walls, check. Loading screens, and they're not exactly short, check and check. There's even a limitation on how high up in the air you can go. This thing honestly doesn't feel like a AAA game as it should be, and also doesn't really feel like a game that manages to do quite enough to be worth $69.99. Look, Armored Core fires a Rubicon at price. I can bullshit it. I don't 100% agree with it, but I can bullshit it. This game looks like it's from the PS3 era, for Christ's sake. So no, I can't justify that price tag. And honestly, between that price tag and the very boring checkboxy story, honestly, the best I can do is give this thing a 7 because of that gameplay, and recommend anyone who wants to actually enjoy it, wait for a price reduction or just rent it. Do not spend $69.99. That is ridiculous. If this thing was 40, okay. 40, 50 range? Cool then. That's better. Almost $80? No. Not a shot in hell. Now, I'm just going to say, there's going to be another review next week. Unfortunately, it's going to be Digimon Story Time Stranger. And the bad news for you is, I don't think I'm going to be able to get that to almost 14 minutes. I don't think I'll be able to pull that off. I will try, but there is shitloads more to unpack with that game, and also that game lasted me twice as long as this one. That's right, this game is a little bit on the short side. This game, honestly, if we exclude the stupid bullshit, pointless dialogue crap moments, this game is about, I want to say about 34 hours at max. No, really. That's also if you're not dicking around too much. But to be fair, why should you? It's not like there's that much. Yeah. I probably should be giving this game actually a 6, but like I said, I'm going to be generous because of that gameplay being really approachable, kind of pretty entertaining. It's not really forcing a grind. Yes, it does have a grind, but honestly, even though it's loose system, I really wanted to go over. I just felt like that part was too hit and miss because it's only a lot of misses during the early part when you're fighting the beasts. But when you're fighting other mechs, and especially once you're later in the game, the loot picks up. So, I'm not sure. And I don't know if there are other things I felt like just weren't quite bad enough to really warrant them doing anything to the score. They sooner count as ending nitpicks for the last minute, such as the fact that the store, honestly, in-game store, we'll get into the other kind of store later. Yes, I know, it's stupid. I get it. I got it. Sorry. When it comes down to it, genuinely, when it comes to the actual in-game store, pretty much you'll be rich. Yeah, there's really dick all to buy. In fact, honestly, you can actually find 3 times better stuff just going that way and having your mech sprint off in that direction. And what's more is, I mean this both literally, figuratively, and hyperbole. Wow. Not normally what they mean by a triple threat, but okay. Now, if by going in that random direction you happen to find mechs, pretty much triple that even. Wow. In fact, honestly, it was harder to not be rich. No, really. It was harder to not be rich. I had to go out of my way to force myself to spend money because there was nothing I needed to buy ever. Not even weapons or mech parts or something for the love of fuck. Anything No, there was never anything to buy. Even as I got to the end game, honestly, the only shit I bought was because, fuck it, I have too much money. Yeah. No, really. I was pretty much more than halfway to having over 1 billion. Sorry, that would be my girl. 1 second. Hellos, goodbyes, and all that stuffs. Ultimately, the reality is as such. When it comes down to it, this game is a 7. And that's me being, I argue, a bit too kind. Hopefully you guys will stop by for the next review. Dear Lord, will that be a long one. See ya. I'm going to go pester the cute one.